Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Cultured Nerd Podcast. This week we're going to be talking about the Daredevil Born Again Season 1 finale and how it kind of fits in the MCU, because we have more questions, and the biggest question of all is the Thunderbolt-sized problem in the room. That is, how does the ending of Season 1 and the setup for Season 2 fit into the greater MCU with all this stuff happening presumably a week later in the same city at the same time? So we have questions. We don't have answers. We're going to try to figure out what is going on. And without further ado, let's sit down and talk MCU. We were talking about this right before the episode started, that like someone was in my office messing with my equipment, and like I'm trying to record, and now it's like all drooping in.
It's fine. Do it live.
Do it live.
Happy Saturday. Happy Coachella weekend. Couchella here in California. Welcome to WrestleMania is happening later today. On top of all of that, yeah.
It's also Easter weekend. Tomorrow is Easter.
Oh yeah, okay.
It was Good Friday, but you also you're Jewish, so that
shows you where my priorities are at. Happy Good Friday to you. Do you celebrate Good Friday?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, well, then good. Happy Good Friday to you and all the other Good Friday people.
You don't know anything about Good Friday. So.
TGIF is what I know, Taylor. I know that it was, from what I understand, and I think it's an oxymoron, it was good that Jesus died for our sins. That's the good part about it?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure we should ask him how he liked being tortured to death. But yes, happy Good Friday to everybody. He will arisen very shortly. I like
it. It's funny. It reminds me of that line in Daredevil in Born Again Season 1 with the Irish bank robber was like, an Irishman's celebrating St. Patty's Day is like a Jew celebrating Christmas. And I'm like, that's every time we talk about any sort of Christian holidays with you, you're like, yeah, that sounds great. I don't know.
Listen, Easter's coming. My favorite part of the story is when he instant teleports to meet all of his friends all around the world. He goes and visits them one more time. That's my favorite part. But we're not here to get into that. Taylor, I like all the pieces of Daredevil. As a whole, I liked this season. I did not like this ending and felt confused and was kind of let down by like this midway point. There's all these things they set up, all of these little plot threads. None of them got paid off yet.
Yes. That was one of my big issues with the finale as well. I mean, I thought the season was fantastic. The action was amazing. I loved seeing the Frank Castle and Daredevil fight in the apartment where Daredevil's like, we're sparing them. And he's like, nope. Pop, 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 pop.
No, we're not.
And he's just doing that. And I'm like, wow, okay. And then I liked how he just showed up and met up with all of his fanboys. And they're like, we want you to lead us. And he's like, you guys are clowns. We are not doing this.
Karen Page hooking up with Daredevil? Was that all of that implication? Like, they text each other, they slid into each other's DMs and have been so this whole time?
I cannot remember Karen's involvement in the Punisher show because it's been a minute since that show came out. I know that they got close, but I don't know if they ever hooked up, but it kind of maybe.
We get confirmation that Daredevil or Punisher only showed up because Karen Page asked a favor. Yeah. And then Punisher was like, I did your favor. And she's like, yeah, because I think you care. And then close the door. And then he's got to go slaughter everyone like John Wick pretty soon.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I definitely liked it. Really was a conflicted ending because in the past seasons of Daredevil, each season had a somewhat finite finale where at least resolved those plot points. And this was the first time that we saw, I mean, maybe it's just a Disney thing or a Marvel thing now, but like when the show is meant to be a standalone show, it has a definite ending. And then you have like Ahsoka season 1, where the ending was like, oh no, now I got to wait a few years to get the resolution. And now we got the same thing happening with Daredevil, where it's like, we saw a bunch of crap happen, and then at the last 5 minutes, it's like, oh, guess what? You're gonna have to wait for season 2 because stuff is happening.
Ahsoka just got announced that they're going to be filming, but I didn't have any worry about that coming back. I feel like with Daredevil, they knew it was a problem because the day of the finale or the day after, they were like, oh no, he's going to come back. There's more Daredevil coming, which is fine. You're right. This ambiguity, this like inability to do everything. And also, I guess they kind of left us with like an Empire Strikes Back, like Fisk has taken over the city, but he kind of hasn't. Like he was the one who engineered it. I don't know. This is the first time that the reshoots on a show I can feel more so than other television shows. I can feel the stuff they kind of ham-fisted into there. And also, I don't know, like spoilers, I'm going to speak about some of the stuff that happened in the last episode. They've been bumping up the power level of the MCU version of Fisk. Why did Fisk all of a sudden become like a Mortal Kombat character? Why did they take...
To be fair, Fisk did rip off a car door in his Hawkeye scene. So we've been talking about this.
Why don't they talk about that then? Why don't any of these other characters running around the city show up and do anything then?
So that was that, and that to me right there, like the title card said, that is my Thunderbolt size problem in the room, is that when it came to see the Netflix verse, we understood that there was a small number of actual heroes operating in New York because that's how the Netflix verse was. They made reference to the Avengers and they kept calling it the incident. And then the incident in Harlem, but it was kind of assumed that the Avengers were just not in New York at the time or something. But since then, the amount of street level vigilantes and heroes in New York currently in the MCU is way bigger than what it was in that show. And
we saw that when Fisk had all those people in cages, right?
Yeah.
When we saw what does he call himself? The sword guy, whatever
swordsman.
Whatever fancy mustache man's name is.
The swordsman.
I also think that element of this show, the ground level hero stuff, I think they messed up by not showing us either a vignette or on a TV thing, those other people going on. Same thing with why haven't we seen what's her name put the tiger talisman on yet?
Yeah, it kind of implied that she's gonna take it, put it on in season 2. I mean, they did end with that very close front shot of her face in the finale.
Yeah.
But so the showrunner for this show, season 1, Dario Scardapane. I'm so
Hi, Dario.
Dario Scardapane. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. My apologies.
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård. Yeah, that's how it's pronounced. He was talking to Entertainment Weekly about the finale and how Matt Murdock is now needing to assemble an army to fight against Fisk.
Almost like the Avengers? Almost like
the Defenders, like people who he already has on speed dial.
They showed us who showed up in that room, and it's a bunch of people. I didn't care about any of those people. Yeah, and I know I'm supposed to care about the Asian cop lady. Yeah, the cop lady from the heist episode.
There was a couple lawyers. There was his old ex-cop friend, and I'm like, okay, cool. And he said, without giving away too much, when you're working in what I call Hell's Kitchen corner of the MCU, those iconic characters are always in your mind. The thing is that, and this is kind of hard, I'm trying to thread a needle here. You want to bring people in and relationships with past figures in Matt's life because they help the story, particularly in terms of a story where Fisk has taken over the city and there is a resistance and a rebellion, so to speak, rising. So there's going to be people, vigilantes, superheroes that are involved in that. There also has to be, because this is happening in their city. That said, you want to create a completely organic story for that, so that comes in and why it has to be beyond anything earned. And on the topic of Spider-Man, because people are like, okay, so he's like across the street, dude. Where is he? This whole thing. We have our little corner of Hell's Kitchen, and it's kind of downtown from Avengers Tower. we kind of stay in our neighborhood until someone says, hey, what about?
They're not even in Hell's Kitchen. They already talked about that. He said, don't get back to the old neighborhood very often. What are they talking about?
Yeah, and that's why this whole thing was annoying. He's like, and we kind of stay into our neighborhood until someone says, hey, what's that about? When people are on high or people or other shows, people or movies interested in our world, we got to like, what do you think of? And I haven't gotten any word on Spider-Man yet. So he went back to it's not part of our Hell's Kitchen corner. It's not part of this, even though, like you said, Hell's Kitchen is not even, it has only been 3 scenes in the entirety of this season that he's actually in Hell's Kitchen.
Right. The first episode.
Yeah.
The episode when he goes back to the bar, and then the third time
when he goes back to the bar again.
Back at the bar again. Okay.
Yeah. So they're not in Hell's Kitchen at all. Like for 99. So he's saying that we're staying in our corner of Hell's Kitchen, but that's nonsense because they're not even doing that. The port is not part of Hell's Kitchen. It's not even part of America for that matter. So like there's so much that they're doing that is they're saying that is contradictory what the actual MCU is doing. And again, like I said, my big concern is that somehow Thunderbolts, which comes out in like a week and a half, and he even said we're down the street from Avengers Tower, and that whole movie takes place around Avengers Tower, which is set smack dab in the middle of Manhattan, which is like right next door to where the mayor's office is. Somehow,
also, is Fisk the mayor in the movie?
He has to be.
He has to be, right? He has to be.
Unless they're going to try to tell us that Daredevil Born Again season 1 and season 2 somehow take place 7 to 8 months ago. And again, if that's the case, Marvel has done such a piss poor job at explaining the timeline of the MCU since Endgame that we don't even know what day or what year or what month any of this stuff is. The only thing that we do know is that Daredevil season 2 takes place after Hawkeye, takes place after Miss Marvel, and takes place after Echo.
Yeah.
But aside from that, we know nothing else about the timeline of the MCU.
I think that this continuity problem is only a problem when you're talking about nerds that really enjoy the canonization of a property. So this is a huge problem because
it only matters if it matters to you, but it's a huge problem.
It matters to us. That idea that the left hand doesn't know what the right is doing, and usually they can like fudge it by like, no, this is space, or this is in an underverse. I also want to say that the difference between these street level heroes and like an Ant-Man, because as you're telling me all of this, all I'm thinking is, if Ant-Man was here, all of this would be solved, right? Ant-Man would get big and get small, would punch people in the face, and like we would move on to the next set piece. But Daredevil is overwhelmed by this. And the part where they're talking about bringing in past relationships, he's talking about the Defenders. And more specifically, I think he's only talking about Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. I don't think Netflix Iron Fist. He says he wants to come back. I don't see them opening the door for him, Taylor.
I could see them doing it just because he is a part of the Defenders and people have actually gotten really like accepting of him as of late, understanding that the issue with the show was indeed Netflix and not because of him.
This moment
he did great when he wasn't tied to that. Like, honestly, I liked the Iron Fist show. I thought the storylines were great. I just thought that it was very undercooked because they rushed it.
I think the moment he shows up and starts doing fire uppercuts, like real bump him up to that cinematic level, I think he's going to get over with the audience. But like, there's no version of that with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, right? They're just buff people. They're not buff. They're just super strong people. So I don't know. I mean, also, where have they been? What have they been doing? Have they just been sitting in an office watching all of this happen?
So there's questions, but there's also my other big question is about, again, Netflix painted themselves in a corner by grabbing all these heroes and then not giving the team the budget to actually show these heroes do their thing. And now that Marvel is stepped in and showing like Kingpin ripping doors off of cars and smushing guys' head like a grape, we now understand that we're dealing with comic book level powers of these people. Jessica Jones can fly, and she has like super strength and all these things that we never saw in the Netflix stuff. Because in the Netflix stuff, They were like, we don't have the budget to show her fly, so we'll do it one time, and she just flies up an alley, and that's all we're gonna do.
Jessica Jones's from the Netflix show, her superpower was opening doors with chains on it. All she ever would do would go, "Hi-ya!" and then she would go inside of a door. She did that a lot.
I wanna read off to you what her actual powers are. She has superhuman strength, durability, and she can fly. So like she's like she can fly. She can take a punch and probably a bullet for that matter.
Sure.
And she has got super strength and accelerated healing. So
no idea. No, I mean, I guess accelerated healing is implied, but they've never once said, "Oh, you heal fast."
Yeah. But
okay.
But also Luke Cage is like
impenetrable.
He's impenetrable and he's got super strength.
Yeah.
So like again, Luke Cage should be able to like pick up a car. Never saw that.
So okay, you brought up the Thunderbolts problem. I would like to know. So the Thunderbolts is basically kind of like Black Widow 2 meets the ending of the Captain America Winter Soldier show. Does the events of the Captain America movie affect this movie?
That's another question, because apparently the president has been dethroned in the Captain America movie because he hulked out.
Yeah, so got arrested. Okay, so there is no president. So if a president
shows up running New York, there's no president.
Yeah.
And the Avengers are missing apparently because there's no Avengers right now. That's actually what the asterisk means on the Thunderbolts logo. Is asterisk the Thunderbolts, like when the Avengers are not available. Like that's what it means.
It's so funny that we're talking about all these things. I feel like you could have changed the ending of Daredevil if Fisk was like, "Hey, there is no president of the United States right now, and we're dealing with a crisis. I don't have confidence of them coming to our rescue, so I am going to call a state of emergency." But again, nobody's talking to each other. So are all these things happening on an island amongst themselves?
So that comes to my other thing. Daredevil Born Again was originally planned, prepared, and ready to go. They filmed a bunch of stuff, and then the fans outcried and said, we don't want this. So they changed the beginning, they changed a couple bits in the middle, and they changed the ending. But at the same time, this whole thing was supposed to come out well before all of this other stuff.
Sure.
So I'm thinking that maybe they didn't realize that shifting the release date would then shift the continuity, because I have questions on how this continuity works now, because this would have made sense if it came out right after Echo or right after She-Hulk and all the other appearances, and it was pre-Captain America, pre-Thunderbolts, and like by like a year, then maybe it would have made more sense.
It literally just needed a line that said 6 months before the events of of Black Panther 2. Right? Or like or any of the, or just any one place, because we assume it takes place at the end of all those shows. We kind of don't know that though. I mean, we know that Kamala Khan is a character in the world, but we don't know where she's at in her adventure.
And apparently she's in San Francisco now. I didn't know that.
When did she go to San Francisco? Did she do that at the end of the movie? Because she did it.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I mean, weird. But again, my concern is that if this is all supposed to be releasing in real time, like the Marvel MCU used to do before they got all weird with it all, we have Daredevil season 1, Thunderbolts, and then Daredevil season 2. So apparently Fisk is mayor, and then when Sentry goes full on Void style and starts vaporizing people in the city, that's right after Fisk has declared martial law and said we got to shoot vigilantes on sight. So apparently the Thunderbolts have a vigilante task force to worry about while the world is being taken to their knees. So I'm like, first off, you have cops in every corner with Punisher-style jackets and machine guns, and they see Bucky run across the street. They're supposed to shoot him, like by law, by the martial law of Fisk.
Taylor, it's not. I mean, I think you're laying out a pretty good picture. There's no way it's going to happen. This movie is now going to feel out of place and out of time. So then my follow-up question is to you. Are they assuming that the events of Fantastic Four resets all of this when Fantastic Four comes to our universe or whatever that event is
we
supposed
don't even
to
know
be.
what's going to be. I mean, the new trailer for Fantastic Four came out, and it clearly kind of feels like the Fantastic Four's world is going to get eaten at the end, and they're going to end up in our world. Like that's kind of what the vibe came from watching that second trailer. Was like, Reed was like, I can't figure it out. We don't have enough time, and he's like, I figured it out. We're leaving. To me, that's what it feels like. Is that he's trying to stop Galactus, and somehow they pop up in the MCU, and he's like, oh, my world got eaten by a giant.
The robot comes with us, and do you think Susan, Invisible Woman gets knocked up by the end of the movie?
She's already knocked up. That was the whole second trailer, Michael. The whole second trailer.
I haven't watched the second trailer. I didn't know the internet just started shitting on the Fantastic Four, and I didn't want to get mad at them. I want that movie to be good.
So the movie, it still looks good. I have some concerns. I mean, the whole trailer showed like a lot of the Silver Surfer lady.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe
that's why the internet was like, "What's going on?" But at the same time, the trailer starts with her saying, "Oh, I'm pregnant, and we're gonna have a baby soon." And then Reed is all like, "But Galactus is coming. We don't have enough time to give birth to this baby because he's gonna eat everything before that point." So the whole thing kind of feels like they're racing against time because he wants them to have their baby before Galactus eats everything. But the other issue, again, if that's what happens, if Fantastic Four First Steps ends with them getting sucked into the MCU and their world gets eaten, she's going to give birth to Franklin Richards. And Franklin can recreate reality. He is like essentially what everyone wanted, what Scarlet Witch did, on like an actual cosmic level. Like
he is the Marvel Mohadib. He's the water of life. He is the chosen one, and he's going to fix all of this.
Yeah. So there's so many questions on what they're doing, but I feel like Marvel should have really sat down like they used to and came up with a timeline and said, these are the timelines you all work in, and then defined it for everybody, because this whole like post Endgame timeline of Hail Maryness is not working for fans, because somehow it doesn't make any sense with like how certain things fit in. Like, I mean, and they do kind of sometimes will say they're on board timeline for things, because we now know Eternals takes place right around Endgame, and Captain America, and we know that Thunderbolts does take place after Captain America, because in Captain America 3, Bucky was running for like state senate or something, and then Thunderbolts, he's going to tell everyone that he left politics because it didn't work and the system was broken.
But so all of this is before the shutdown of New York City and Fisk taking over, correct?
Or after. One of those two, we don't know. Because Marvel has done this thing where they have their movie timeline, which they define decently, and then they have their TV show timeline, which they don't ever define at all.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the timeline of things, right, the actual timeline, I'm led to believe that Hawkeye, which takes place around Christmas, takes place around the same time that Spider-Man No Way Home does, because they both ended right around Christmas in Rockefeller Center.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So that means that the events of Spider-Man probably happened like 8 months ago. So Spider-Man should still be in the city right now.
But nobody knows he's Spider-Man because
nobody knows who he is. They just know that there's some punk in a costume.
Okay.
And we know that because Fisk referenced the fact that there's a Spider-Man in the city. So we understand that he is aware of Spider-Man, and he's been around for a while, but you can't name drop Spider-Man or reference Spider-Man in episode 1 or 2 and then pretend when a rebellion of heroes that are standing up to tyranny he's not going to show up and say, I should probably help you guys.
Also, famous other upstate New York mutants. Are the X-Men just allowing New York City to do this? Xavier wouldn't allow the mutants to go and save New York City from a supervillain in Wilson Fisk.
But again, the mutants don't exist in the MCU yet. That's going to be all post-Secret War stuff, so that we don't even know what they're doing with the mutant angle. I have so many questions.
I think that you laid out a pretty good argument for all of this garbageness. And you know what's going to, you know why, you know when it's really going to show up? It's going to start showing up when James Gunn universe is all going to fit like beautiful little puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
We are going to know where all of these things are, and the TV show stuff is going to matter. I mean, really the only thing that doesn't fit in there is Peacemaker season 1, of which they're going to retcon in season 2. And he's going to fit in right into all of this. And it's going to make the Marvel side even look worse.
Yeah, I would love it if James Gunn and DC just did the comic book thing at the beginning of the movie at some point, or the beginning of the show at some point, have a little text box in the corner saying, for reference, see this episode, like they do in the comics, where you're like opening an issue, you're like, oh, who's this dude? And there's a little asterisk saying, to understand who this character is, go to this issue and this page. Like they used to do. Like that was very normal for comics to do that when they did crossover stuff. But I digress. We have just a few minutes left. Did you watch the new Gundam show, Michael? It's in English now.
I do. I do want to talk about that. First, I want to talk to you. Have you seen these weird AI videos where they take like Venom meets the Little Mermaid and they do these crossover stuff?
Yes. AI is out of control and it's hilarious. And I think it's really funny.
Taylor, it's bad because like every third one, it'll be like a Thanos Predator. And I'm like, yeah, I would watch that. Like every like third one. G-Quux. Yes, I did watch it. I did not watch it in the order you told me to watch it. I watched it the way it was presented to us. Taylor, that episode 1, they did such a good job with the sound design. They only would they played the like psychic vision stuff of like, oh no, we got the Zaku, like the like, they were so good with sparing all of that stuff. And really setting the time and place of this world. Also, I think Char's ghost is inside of that red comet the way Shinji's mother's soul is inside of Ava Unit 1. Okay, I'm not supposed to say that.
For a show that's been out like, the show's been out like 35 years, but shush.
Okay, shush. Okay, I apologize. Okay.
Yeah, no. I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, so when I watched episode 2 and I saw them retread all that territory, I was like, oh, I saw this all in the film.
They did so good. The art style matches.
But the movie, the Mobile Suit Gundam G-Quux, the beginning, there was actually like 15 minutes more that they showed you. And they actually showed you what happened to Char. And I'm assuming they're going to show us that in later episodes.
In episode 3. Okay.
Yes. Because when you see what happens to him, because we saw the big asteroid and the big beam of light come out of it, and you're like, oh, what happened to him? So in the movie, Char is setting up all of these bombs in the thing to blow it up, and then he has this ulterior motive where he's like, I'm actually going to not blow these up and let them hit the station, because if I let them kill the Zeon leaders, then I become in charge and I get my revenge. And it was all about Char getting his revenge, because Char hated Zeon. Like, people who didn't watch the show from 50 years ago, Char hated Zeon, and he pretended to be their friend by basically killing the real Char and pretending to be him. Like, it was a crazy story. And his whole thing was, I'm going to rise to power and then destroy everybody because I hate you all. So he was trying to actually sabotage the mission, and then he starts fighting somebody, and then the psychom system goes like haywire on him, and then it basically opens up this portal into the rainbow effect thing that we saw, and that's like, it sucks him into a void, and then he disappears. So I think we're going to see that later on, because we saw the big beam of light and them saying, and then he vanished. I'm like, oh, so you're not going to show it?
And we saw our new school-aged girl instinctually tap into her new aginess, her new type powers,
Yeah, so there's a lot of it's interesting, because there's a lot that the movie showed in chronological order, because the movie started showing you the Char stuff and then went into timeline order, and then I'm assuming showed episode 3 at the end of that film.
Well, I hope that these space Palestinians are able to turn this Gundam to their side. When the Zaku started ripping off the houses because they don't matter, I was like, what is going on? Is there no justice for these people?
It's such a wild story, and I'm just like, all right, let's see what they're doing. But yeah, I'm glad it's out, and I'm glad they're doing simultaneous dub releases. So these first 3 episodes I can kind of zone in because I've already seen them. But it's cool. It's great. I actually really enjoy what I'm seeing. On a different note, Star Wars had its celebration the last couple days, currently still happening right now in Tokyo.
What things did they announce which will be canceled 6 months from now, Taylor?
So things that are actually happening.
Are they?
Yeah. So the Sean Levy movie that he is making, they confirmed that he is making like a solo film and then like a trilogy. So he's doing like multiple things going on. The solo film was confirmed. It's called Star Wars Starfighter, and it's going to be
that's
starring
the Ryan
Gosling.
Reynolds movie?
Ryan Gosling.
Thank you.
Other Ryan. Also Canadian, but other Ryan. So that's happening, and it sounds like it's going to start filming like tomorrow. So that's awesome. We know some leaked footage hit the internet about Mandalorian and Grogu, which showed Sigourney Weaver is the new broker, aka the new Carl Weathers. And it looks great. The trailer looked fantastic. I made a joke at work because I work at a urology office, so we make a lot of dick jokes all the time anyways.
Sure.
So I made a joke about how the trailer showed Din Djarin entering rectally into an AT-AT to save his child. And my boss was like, what? And he's like, let me see the footage. And I showed him the trailer, and he's like, oh yeah, he went right up that AT-AT's butt. And it was really funny because like you see the inside of the AT-AT for the first time, or do they call it the AT-AT walker? I don't know. The continuity makes no sense sometimes because for 50 years, fans have been calling it the AT-AT, and then one of the video games called it the AT-AT walker. Now everyone's confused.
Okay.
But it shows the inside of the walker and how many people can actually fit inside those things. And it's almost like the Daredevil hallway fight. He opens up the back door, comes in and starts mobbing everybody.
Cool.
And then he jumps out of it and blows the thing up. And I'm like, that was really cool. They also showed that they have a new full-on puppet for Grogu. And it's not like it was, where it's like, you had like 20 dudes with mechanical arms controlling every bit of him. He's fully self-contained now. So they brought him up on stage and he was all interacting with them. And they're like, it's real now, guys.
Yeah.
And my boss was like, yeah, they're going to sell that for like $5,000. And nerds are going to pay for that thing.
For sure. We love Grogu.
But with other things that happened, we got confirmation that Ahsoka season 2 is about to start filming. Hayden Christensen is 100% returning. So Force Ghost Anakin all the way, like we saw at the end of the season 1. The late Ray Stevenson has been indeed recast by actor Rory McCann, aka the dude from Game of Thrones with the burnt face. And the photo leaked, and
yeah, that looks fine.
It's not like 1-to-1, but it looks fine. It looks like it's doable. I can do it.
Fine with that. Don't CG his face. Just say this is what he looks like now.
Yeah, just pretend that it happened to move on.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we have two actresses who play Mon Mothma and they're supposed to be Mon Mothma around the same time and people haven't cared, that's fine.
Great.
So, Andor season 2 comes out this week. Huzzah.
I'm sure to anyone who's left watching it, they will enjoy it. I hope it brings more people in to watch the first season and then watch this new season, but huzzah.
Yeah, and they're doing the very classic Disney I have no faith in this approach, which is kind of a bummer, but whatever.
They're releasing the whole thing?
No. So the episode schedule is on April 22nd, 3 episodes. April 29th, 3 episodes. Oof. May 6th, 3 episodes, and May 13th, the last 3 episodes.
Wow, so they're blowing through the whole thing.
Yeah, so instead of doing it over the course of 12 weeks like they did with every other show, they're dropping them as their movie forms are going, because in season 1 we understood that every 3 episodes was a self-contained story, so they're just dropping them story blocks. Like you're going to see them in that format. So great for me, but also the fact that Lucasfilm has already said that this is the end of the show, so it just seems like they were like, all right, we spent a ton of money, we're going to give the fans the way they want to see it, and whatever we get, we get.
And the last scene of the last episode is the first scene of Rogue One,
probably, where he gets the call from that crippled guy saying, I've got the info, come meet me. And he meets him in the alley.
Okay.
So that's probably how they're going to end it. I got questions. So yeah. Other big fun news bits. Nintendo is not changing the prices of the Nintendo Switch 2 because despite the fact that everyone's freaking out about the tariffs, nobody actually looked at economics and realized that Nintendo was making these things in a country that is not affected by the tariffs. So the prices had nothing to do with the tariffs.
Well, I mean, the world is more expensive, and the fact that this console is going to be more expensive and all the games are going to be $30 more expensive than what they are now.
Also, remember, Michael, when we were kids, how much did Nintendo 64 games cost when they were first starting?
Your half your allowance. I mean, they were super. All of
They
that
were like
stuff was super
70 to 80
expensive.
bucks anyway.
Yeah.
So this is just Nintendo being Nintendo.
Mhm.
And these prices are going to stick. Nintendo never gives discounts. So what's going to be 80 bucks right now is going to be 80 bucks in 5 years because that's just how Nintendo is.
Yeah, they'll do a legacy collection or something. It'll be $5 off, but you're right. They do not lose their value.
Yeah, no. Sony is the one who's like, we made our money back. The game's now $10.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's how Sony is. Or like Astrobot, the game made Game of the Year. We made our money back. Everyone gets it for free.
Sure.
You buy the new console, it's for free. Like I don't know. Sony seems to be one of those companies that's willing to take a hit. And Nintendo's like, we like our money. And it's going to stay that way.
And also Nintendo really only has the two revenue streams, the console and the games. And I feel like Sony has their fingers in everything.
Sony's also a hardware company that makes things other than games. So they can get away with it. Did you watch Devil May Cry on Netflix? It was fantastic. You should watch it.
I didn't go out of my way to watch it. I just started watching it yesterday. Yeah, it's like a fun, violent Saturday morning cartoon. I was not prepared for it to be so.
And it gets better. Just wait till you get to the end of it. You're like, oh, so good.
I'm just happy they're showing Dante off. I feel like the anime Devil May Cry, it was a slow burn and everything, and they kept like waiting to get into it. And I feel like this show goes right into the action very quickly and gets into the silliness of the Devil May Cry world.
Yeah. Let me see what else. I don't want to go too long because we're going a little over, but we didn't record last week, so we get some leeway on this. Let's see what other new things happened. Sony, not Sony. Well, maybe Sony. No, I won't talk about that one. Superman had its 2-minute behind the scenes featurette yesterday for Superman Day, and the internet loved it. It showed more pictures, more things that we were not expecting to see. One of them was the actual practical effects of Metamorpho, because we saw Metamorpho for the first time front and center as in the dude wearing the prosthetics.
Yeah.
And Michael, he looks great.
Yeah, that looks great. He looks alien. He looks the way we want him to. He looks like one of the Prometheus. He looks like one of the engineers.
He looks like an engineer. Yeah.
He looks like an engineer is what he looks like.
Yeah, so the trailer looks. The funny thing is, I saw a lot of naysayers watch this behind the scenes thing, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, I'm sold. This actually looks really good."
Great,
because they realized very quickly that James Gunn did not like so many practical effects. Everything that he could make practical, he did practical, and they're like, "Wow, that's why it looks the way it does because it's all real." So, looks very great. The studio has doubled down on their support for it. Some more behind the scenes stuff has happened where people have basically saw the film and said, holy crap, this is what we wanted from like 50 years ago.
Wow.
So people are praising the crap out of this film. And more, I'm seeing the naysayers either switching over to saying, okay, I'll see it. Some of the hard button naysayers are getting more aggressive in their hate for the show, but it seems like it's more like people just screaming at a corner at this point because people are really latching onto this. The numbers are speaking for themselves. The hype is speaking for itself. People are excited for Superman. And if anything tells you, they launched a bunch of merchandise yesterday. Amazon sold out on all their pre-orders for the Superman figures.
That's great. That's solid.
There's a lot of good stuff happening right now with Superman, and the word of mouth is doing great. Supergirl, there were some leaked set photos where people saw the costume for Supergirl, and she looks like Supergirl.
Cool.
She has the blue top, the big S, the skirt, the high boots, and then the big golden belt thing. She has all that, just like the comic. It looks just like the comic with the new S. So, hell yeah. There was a leak of Lobo. Everyone lost their mind, and then someone came out and said, by the way, I made it on ChatGPT. My bad. And everyone was pissed off because it was perfect. And it was really funny because those of us who know how leaks work and how the stuff works, we're like, first off, no one would have gotten that photo. And second off, that looks fake as hell. Yeah. And the internet still thought it was real. So hooray.
They want Lobo. And I think when they do see him, they're going to freak out. But that's not until Momoa's done promoting Minecraft movie.
Minecraft, despite what everyone expected, it's blown up and done so damn well. And they fast-tracked Minecraft movie too. So
Yeah, let's save that conversation for another day, because I think it has less to do with I mean, the IP, I guess, is part of it, but it's more of an event, and it's a permission for kids to be kids. It feels like it's jockeying, no pun intended, off of the Sonic audience. I feel like
Maybe.
I
I mean,
Sonic opened the door for a lot of this.
Minecraft is a big IP. It is. Everyone has played it at least once in the last 20 years. It
Sure.
is a huge game, but they got a good cast for it. And as everyone who I've spoke to who saw this film, including my son, who played Minecraft religiously as a kid, said the movie was super dumb, but it was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that's what pretty much everyone is saying, is like, it was like, this is what happens when you give the guy who made Napoleon Dynamite $200 million to make a movie about a video game.
Sure.
He does something silly.
Yeah.
And we got Jack Black riding on the back of Jason Momoa like a horse with him with wings. That's what we got.
It's what they
And
wanted.
it's what people wanted and what they're responding to.
Yeah.
But on that note, Michael, take us home.
Taking you home. Our home is patreon.com/theculturednerd. If you would like to support us and keep the lights on, that support is much appreciated. If you are watching this over on the YouTubes, please like, comment, share this episode if you think someone would like to hear about this. Also, comment. Question of the week: how would you like them to fix the MCU? Not necessarily in terms of, characters and things like that, but how do you put all of these plot points together? Or what would be the explanation that you would like to see? Taylor Murphy's been your host. I'm Michael Santel. I'm your co-host. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful Couchcello weekend. Mania it up. And we'll see all you kids and cats next time.
Bye, everyone. Have a good time.
Bye, everybody.